Well, the lesson in the previous meeting was that if we use formaldehyde as the carbonyl group in the Grignard reaction, then we get a primary alcohol, right? So let's say that I use an alkyl halide like this, and then I transform that into a Grignard reagent. So if I use formaldehyde, then I will extend by one carbon atom my compound, right? I have 1, 2, 3. So I will have 2, 3, 4, and this will become an alcohol. So that will be a primary alcohol. Then if I use any other aldehyde, let's say that I start with the CH3MgCl, I transform that. This is by reaction with magnesium in ether, right? Magnesium in ether. I will get CH3MgBr. And then if I react with any other aldehyde, like let's say acetaldehyde, so then I will get a secondary alcohol, right? I will get a 2 carbon atom derived from the acetaldehyde there. And then I am adding 1 carbon atom that came from the Grignard, right? So I will get that. And then finally, if I use, instead of using formaldehyde or acetaldehyde, if I use a ketone, let's say that I have isopropyl iodide, I react that with magnesium in ether, and I will get formation of my Grignard, MgBi. Oops. Sorry, I just realized that in the previous one I put Br there. It should have been Cl, of course. I need to be consistent with the halide. And then if I use the iodide, I get the iodide, the magnesium iodide. And let's say that I react this with a ketone, and I will make it a not very symmetrical ketone. So that is 2-butanone. So what do I get? I will get that, plus in this carbon atom, I will have the addition of the isopropyl group that came from the Grignard reagent. So there you go. Synthesis of a primary alcohol using formaldehyde. Synthesis of a secondary alcohol using any other aldehyde different from acetaldehyde, different from a formaldehyde. And then I can get a tertiary alcohol when using a ketone, right? So now we are going to try something quite interesting. How about if I give you the structure of tertiary alcohol where all the 3 R groups are different? Let's say that you have this. That, right? So you have a phenyl group, you have 1, 2, 3, you have a you have a propyl group, and you have a methyl group. So all 3 substituents are different. So what are my choices here? Well, so the choices will be determined by the nature of the R group that I should have in the Grignard reagent. So my R group could be a methyl, or it could be a propyl, or it could be a phenyl, right? So this will be my 3 different possibilities. One possibility would be that I can start with a ketone that will contain already the methyl group and the phenyl, right? The methyl group that is in red and the phenyl that is in yellow. So that means that the newcomer will be the propyl group, right? So if that is going to be the newcomer, that means that my step number one, it should be the Grignard reagent containing the propyl, right? So it will be 2, 3 carbon atoms, MgBr, and then step number 2, as usual, H3O plus. So that would be one possibility. Possibility number 2, I can have, from the start, I can have the red and the green. So if I have the red and the green, that means that I'm starting with this ketone. And I'm starting with a ketone that already contains the methyl group and the propyl. So who is the newcomer? Well, the newcomer is going to be the phenyl group. The phenyl groups. So that means that my Grignard will have to be this, right? Sorry, it's not looking very nice, this. It's too big, the MgBr. That will be my Grignard. And then my step number 2, H3O plus. And then finally, the other possibility will be that the green and the yellow were already present. So that means I already had the propyl group, 1, 2, 3, and then I had my carbonyl, and then my phenyl. So who is the newcomer? The newcomer will be the red, the methyl group. So that's why my step number 1 should be methyl magnesium bromide. And then, as usual, step number 2, H3O plus. Make sense? So there you go. When synthesizing a tertiary alcohol where all 3 groups are different, you have 3 different ways to synthesize it. Okay, so let's see what we have ahead here. So what we have ahead is the reaction with esters. So when you have an ester, this is something special because it turned out that the alkoxide group that we have here is a relatively good leaving group. And so that means when you have the first attack of the Grignard, you form the alkoxide, and then you have the possibility that you can have regeneration of the carbonyl group with departure of the alkoxide. Don't worry too much about the mechanism of that, because in the second semester, we will discuss in more detail that. But for the time being, you should be aware that when reacting an ester like this with a Grignard reagent, you will need to use 2 equivalents of your Grignard reagent, and then at the end of the game, you will have a repeat, right? Now you will have 2 groups that look the same, right? So you will have a repeat. So let's see another example here. So in the one given by McMurray, we are starting with ethyl pentanoate. So all this portion will remain, right? It's the same portion there. And then what was added? We added twice the methyl group, and then we formed the alcohol. And then the group that was here, that was eliminated as an alkoxide and became an alcohol, right? So let me give you another example here. So let's say that the ester that you have looks like this. And you have a benzoate. A benzoate that looks like this. And let's say that I react this with ethyl magnesium bromide. So, as we said, in this reaction, you will use 2 equivalents of the Grignard reagent. So, 2 equivalents. That will be my step number 1. And then step number 2, as usual, H3O+. What do I get out of that? Well, I will get my same phenyl group there, where I used to have the carbonyl. That carbon atom is going to become an alcohol. And then, because I'm adding 2 equivalents of ethyl magnesium bromide, I will get 2 substituents that will look the same. And then all this portion here will become an alcohol that it will be a separate molecule, right? And so I will have isopropanol as a side product. So let's take a break here.